Okay, this is a fish wheel at the Rampart Rapids, and right now I'm my fish wheel. I've put it away yesterday. Actually, I finished doing it, and today I'm partnering with two other fishermen, and they're hauling they haul their fish to town by boatloads, and I haul my fish to town by this big log fish crib. Haul them all at once. They make multiple trips with their boat. So it's just different ways of doing the same thing, and I'm babysitting the wheel for them. I'm going to make sure there's like 500 fish in the wheel by the end of today, and I'm also just anything extra I'm taking during the day, and I may actually get half my 1,300 fish, or could even get the whole bunch today. It just depends on how they're running. This is a 2 million fish run this year. It's a very good run, better than average. These chum salmon, kind of like rabbits, their populations are kind of vary a lot. They're wildly variable to some extent. Any kind of El Nino or weird stuff happening in the ocean, and they come back in small numbers, and then if everything's good out in the ocean and those currents are good, then it'll be just the opposite. So I'm going to show you some fish here. These fish, by the way, they stopped eating 700 miles ago, or before they entered into the Yukon. We're about at mile 730 or something. And so they stopped eating a long time ago, and they go into what's called the spawning mode. And these things are out in the ocean. They're beautiful silver fish. I don't have, sometimes earlier in the season I have an example of a nice silvery fish. So here's a fish. Take a fish like this. This is a male chum salmon. The males develop big teeth, just like a moose develops, big horns and looks all threatening, rough and tough. These males, they develop a real pronounced nose and these sharp teeth, and they get even worse than this. There's probably some examples of something worse in here. And this guy here is probably starting to get white flesh. It's not nice red flesh like earlier in the season on some of my fall chum videos, where I'm cutting beautiful red fall chums. Late in the season, when we get our dog food, they're more like this. And female, here's a female. You can see again the dark bars, real dark colors, and the female doesn't develop the teeth. So these eggs are getting fully developed in here pretty soon, because they're getting close to the spawning grounds, although some of them are still going 300-400 miles. Some of them are going even another 500 or more into Canada, but most of them are going about 300 more miles. Then we have, now here's something. This fish may actually have a little bit of redness to the flesh inside. This fish is probably not a bad fish. You can see it's more silvery. The colors aren't as pronounced. This one's maybe going into Canada, or it's just doing better on its journey upriver. But see, this is a male. See, there's no teeth. They're just starting to develop though. So that's a small male, but still, it's a real nice fish. You might be, all these fish are edible. I used to live out the spawning stream, and we used to catch, on that spawning stream. This was a good fish, white flesh fish, but it's healthy. It's nothing wrong with it. But we usually on the Yukon here, you have such good quality fish. We just get the people food early and get the dog food late like this. Right now the wheel is shut off for using the camera, but also shut off because there's water that comes off the wheel as see, it's just easier to shut off the wheel while I'm getting the fish out and then turn it back on again. We'll show you the wheel catching lots of fish. We'll show that later, but it's a lot of noise and a lot of water. And so anyway, when these fish come in fish come in the Yukon, they stop eating. and they won't eat again. I mean, it's been like, let's see, it takes about 20 days from the mouth up to here, so they haven't eaten for 20 days. Some of them are going to travel for another 20 days. The king salmon travel for almost 1,500 miles, some of them, and they won't eat all the way. That's why they build up all the oil in their flesh to fuel them on their swim up rivers, what it is. Now this is a she-fish. This is a species of whitefish, and totally different, you know, it's not a salmon. And this guy will actually not die. He's going to come to Fort Yukon, about, I don't know, 300 miles from here or something like that. And he's going to, there's some areas up there where these things spawn, and he's going to lay his eggs. He hasn't eaten for, God, these things will stop eating in June. In early June, they stop eating. And in November, and some of them travel real slow up to the Yukon, and some of them travel real fast, like the ones that are coming up now. They're moving fast. But some of these, you know, like a month and a half ago, you'd catch the real slow-moving ones, and they'd be coming up, and they all meet at the same time up in the spawning area, and they will spawn, and then in November they'll go back downriver, and I don't know when they start eating, but it's they won't start eating until they're sometime in November anyway. So that is an amazing journey for a fish to make. If you can imagine not eating for months and then still being able to live and function. These things have retained their guts, you know, their stomach is still intact and everything like that. They just have stopped eating. The salmon, these salmon here, if you cut them open, you'd actually see a semi-digested stomach. Some of the ones that are really spawning in the spawning mode, like this female here, you won't even be able to recognize their stomach. Yeah, now here's a good example. This is a spawning male. This is the kind of fish where they look like this when they arrive on the spawning grounds. Those teeth and everything, and you know, and yeah, they're not eating, they can't eat, but they will aggressively attack lures and stuff. That's how people catch them in these spawning creeks. So that's it. That's a little about the fish we're catching right now. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I used to live in a spawning creek for the first 11 years of my life up here. And like I say, you know, I lived off of those spawning salmon for about 11 years, and I fed my dogs on it and all that. This is really the reason I came to the Yukon, because I couldn't keep a dog team consistently, and I just couldn't feed the dogs well up there. And so I decided to move to the Yukon where all the good fish is. Okay, I'm going to kind of give you a little swing here of the action on the camera here, if I can be steady. Okay, there's the fish wheel, and like I say, the baskets are just steady in the current there, and that's upriver. That's where the fish are heading. See the current here. It's pretty good current. Pretty good current in the rear. This is the furthest up fish wheel. There's in summertime there's about 4 fish wheels on this bend, or at least there was this summer. In the old days there used to be, they say, 10 fish wheels, and this entire area would be just covered with fish wheels. Let's see, where I was going. In 1979, a survey was done in the village of Tanna, and there were 47 dog teams in the village of Tanna. Now there's less than 10, and a lot of the teams in the village get fed higher quality food because they're racing kennels, and so they don't eat as much fish. But these traveling teams like I have, they're fed like 95% of their diet is fish. So right there, that's an island, a rock island in the middle of the river, and that's what produces all this current here, this fast-moving water, and that's what pushes the fish into its shore. That's why you can catch fish here. A lot of fishing sites, you can't catch fish. You can't catch hardly any fish, and you just can't put a wheel anywhere. It has to be somewhere that there's some sort of an advantage. So yeah, like I say, there's pretty good current here. You definitely want to wear a life jacket. There's been a number of people drowned up in this area. A good friend of mine drowned when in my early years up here, and there's been a number more over the years. So you just really got to be careful. Like, I got to be careful standing on the front of this boat that's bouncing around and about ready to dump me in the river. Okay, now I'll yeah, we'll just throw a few fish in the Okay, here's the layout of back at camp. I got a boatload of fish that we just picked up at the wheel, about 200 fish, and this is the fish crib. Big log raft. This is going to be half my firewood for the winter, and maybe not quite this year. It's a small raft. There wasn't much driftwood, but anyway, this will get all cut up into firewood. But anyway, for right now, there's a log raft with a big opening in the center, and it's got 2 logs sticking out the back. That's where my boat's going to go. That's how I'm going to push it downriver. But anyway, it's got seine webbing on it. Underneath this blue tarp is a bunch of webbing. You can kind of see it right up here by, you see the seine webbing there, right by where I have a little opening there. You have to have some water running out or you'll sink the whole raft, because I got water coming in. This black hose that is running right here comes from the creek, and that keeps the fish cold. So it's a lot colder than the Yukon River, because right now the Yukon River is, I don't know what the temperature is, but it's a lot warmer than the creek water. And so basically that creek water just keeps the fish fresher, and I've kept fish in there for up to 2 weeks and then moved them to town. They're certainly not good people food after that, but you know, for dog food, the fish are going to be soured anyway in a crib, a land crib, a big pile in a enclosed area. Back at Tana anyway, they're soured, like kind of like you sour cheese and a lot of things to make it more digestible, and that's so a little bit of even though they lose a little people quality sitting in there before I transport them, not a big deal. So there's fish camp right up there. Moving a lot of stuff off the beach. I'm all through with my cutting table and my big fish totes that we use for storing fish while we get ready to cut them. And then I got the right in the center there, that's my traveling food. That's dry fish. It's the same thing as you're looking at in the crib here, but it's been all cut and dried. I got a video on that too, cutting dry dog food video. It shows you that whole process. and that'll get moved to town. It's ready to move to town. I just got so many things on my plate right now. Yeah, so that's fish camp, and there's my buddy Russ and BJ. They're fish camp. They're both in the National Guard. Russ is retired, BJ's still in it, but yeah, they're running a fish camp there. Russ actually used to own my fish camp. He gave it to me a long time ago, in the mid 80s, late 80s, when he went full-time National Guard, and now he's back on the river. Okay, and this is the process of throwing them in the crib. I'm not going to do much of it, but we just throw a few in there, so see how it's done. Yeah, it's a nice day today. We got a couple of nice days. It's been pretty rainy all fall, but real nice. Okay, all right, that'll be good enough. And yeah. That's good enough. I'll get the rest out here, but yeah, that's all you do. And go back. Got to get right back up the wheel, because it's catching them so fast that I can barely keep up. And I'm cooking a dog pot too, so I'm trying to do a bunch of things at once. Okay, I just went and picked up another load of fish. Here, I got 200 fish in the boat. I'm going to turn the wheel on now, and we'll watch it catch some fish. Okay. Okay, sometimes the first basket is the one that catches a lot of fish, because oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7 fish. I made a video in 2005 that's got 500,000 views on YouTube, and it caught 6 fish. And my buddy said earlier, wouldn't catch 6 fish right at the same time. We had a stall in the current. That's 7 fish. Anyway, my buddy said he turned on yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, yesterday. He said 11 fish in the basket. And then, you know, because what happens is they sit behind that lead fence there. The thing that the fish come up behind. And they'll sit there and they'll congregate there, and then they'll move on upriver, you know, little by little. You know, a few of them will leave at a time, you know, but there's a congregation behind the lead, because it's a nice little eddy there. It's a resting slow water, you know. And but when you turn on the wheel, you know, they sense something happening. I mean, they can tell when they're sitting behind that lead over there. They can tell there's a fish wheel just got turned on, or they can tell something bad just happened, and they all spook. And of course, when salmon spook, they don't head towards shallow water and go around in the lead that way. They head towards the deeper water, and they go right into the fish wheel. So that's why we just caught that large amount of fish. So, you know, it'll catch, you know, 1 a dip, 3 a dip, no a dip. You know, there'll be baskets where it doesn't catch anything. Yeah, so that's the fish wheel. It's yeah. Like I say, there's you know, it's a very large run this year, and the you know, every time I put something on any kind of social media about, you know, catching fish or something, especially if it's something like that video I put on in 2005 where it was catching a lot of fish for, it wasn't more than a 30-second video or something. But anyway, well, I don't know how long it was. It's really short. And you know, you always get comments from people like, oh, that's terrible, you know, you're killing all those fish for what? Dogs, you know? But the thing is this is a renewable resource, and right now, the state of Alaska, Department of Fish and Game, still, on most years, considers this run to be underutilized. In other words, there's plenty of fish going to the spawning grounds, and it actually could even take a lot more harvest. And as far as like dog mushing, and feeding fish to dogs, there used to be a tremendous amount more of that happen on the river here. There's almost no fish wheels on the Yukon River anymore. I mean, there's hardly any. And there used to be, the river was just lined with it all the way from the mouth to the border at Canada and all into Canada and up to Canada River. And the fish still maintain themselves. You know, what'll kill this fishery is if there's a way, they find a way to get these fish to market and sell them commercially. That's when you'll start to see things like, you know, a run of 1 million or 2 million fish, and they'll be taking 1 million fish out of it. You know, they'll be taking 1 million fish out of a 2 million fish run. You know, they'll be taking 500,000 out of a 1 million fish run. That's the kind of thing that's going to kill the fishery. You know, not subsistence fishing for the people up and down the river, not the people in the villages. And this is supposed to, this type of fishing is supposed to have, by law, a priority over commercial fishing. And this is the people's livelihoods, and it's supposed to have a priority, but it actually never works out that way. They'll fish the run down to the point where you can't fish it for subsistence with a commercial fishery. You know, that's the way it has always been around here, in my opinion. And, so anyway, so that's the, whatever you call it, the ethics of fishing with a fish wheel for what we call subsistence, you know, or just non-commercial fishing. And that's my opinion, of course, but I know whenever I put these kind of things out on social media, and I know with all these fish that are being caught, there's definitely going to be people that are going to view this whole thing as something that's terrible and should never happen, you know. And the thing is that this lifestyle is dying. There's a tiny fraction of it. Like I pointed out before, in 1979 there were 47 dog teams in the village of Canada. Now there's almost none. You know, there's like eight dog teams in the village of Canada, and most of the other villages off in Canada is probably the doggiest village in the Yukon River. And there's most of these villages don't even, a lot of them don't even have a single dog team anymore. And that used to be the mode of transportation before snowboats started happening in the late 70s and stuff. So, okay, so wheel. I think you got an idea of what these wheels can do. They can also catch absolutely nothing for, you know, for long periods of time if the run's not happening. But if you get a large day where you got 100,000 fish coming through here, this is the kind of thing you can catch. Okay, so now this is load number 4. This will be 800 fish here, and maybe I'll yeah, pretty soon I'm going to start fishing for my buddy. We got to get a load of fish for him to take down tomorrow. Yeah, so I really get I enjoy making these videos. It shows the lifestyle. It's a lifestyle I'm proud of. It's a hard-working lifestyle, and you're independent, and something you can do a lot of times. A lot of it, maybe not this time of year. You know, my family's all doing different things, but for a lot of the summer, it's something that the whole family can be involved in, and I think it's a hard work and ethical lifestyle, and a lot of the reason I started doing all this sort of stuff, or I started putting stuff on pictures on Facebook and explaining things a long time ago, years ago, and putting a video on YouTube. The reason I do it is to show people it, you know, because a lot of people, they have this misconception that hunting, fishing, trapping, it's all like a, you know, it's pretty widespread. They think it's like pretty close to poaching, or it might as well be poaching, you know. It's a terrible way to live, and a terrible thing to do. And they think, you know, it's just a bunch of people driving around, you know, with beer cans and shooting animals or whatever. Just you know, and so I try to promote the lifestyle. That's why I started doing this. That's why I started putting stuff on social media. And then I found out that a lot of people like it. They just like, you know, they know what it is, and they, you know, a lot of times they're people who used to do this kind of thing when they were young, to live in the country, and in a different way maybe they did something like this, and they just enjoy watching it, and it gives me a lot of enjoyment to do that for people, to give them a view of this lifestyle up here, because it is a dying lifestyle. It's only a fraction of what it used to be when I came up here in the 70s, and you know, like I say, snow machines have taken over dog teams. There's very few people living with dog teams anymore, and just the whole lifestyle of fish camps and all that, you know, it's just it's all kind of going away. And you know, if people have the wrong attitude about it, if they, you know, view it as something that's not ethical, you know, then it just makes the lifestyle go away faster, because then laws get made against it. You know, we've constantly been fighting against, you know, laws to limit the amount of fish being able to fed to dogs, to eliminate it, to allow commercial fisheries to have priority over subsistence and this kind of thing. And, you know, and there's a lot of pressure and money and everything out there to promote it. You know, those anti-hunting, fishing, trapping type people, and so I think that's gonna kind of be it for this video.